Hello and welcome to the Podquest of Bread. Tonight I want to talk about the president's response because we finally got his insights and his theory on the domestic terrorist named Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, give a little detail just to fill anybody in that might not understand what I'm talking about right now. A few days ago in Wisconsin, a domestic terrorist, 17 years old by the name of Kyle Rittenhouse, shot 3 people, killing 2 of them. Now, autopsy reports show that the first victim that was shot by him was shot in the back, which shoots down any possible motive of self-defense. It was already clear it wasn't self-defense from the beginning, but it's even clearer that it's not self-defense now. Then Kyle Rittenhouse began to run away while calling a friend saying, "I just killed someone." And he was attacked by a bunch of people attempting to disarm and stop an active shooter. Thus, he shot another person in the stomach, killing them, and then shot another person in the arm. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse is, of course, facing what will more than likely be a life sentence at 17 years old, and we can discuss the efficacy of imprisoning a 17-year-old for his life in a later episode. But what I want to talk about is the president's response. And this is probably going to lead into a little bit of a discussion on the response from the right in general. So the president's been pretty mum on his response to what Kyle Rittenhouse did. He's been very quiet about it. His press secretary kind of dodged the subject during a press conference today before Trump went on and had his own press conference. Now, I'm not sure why I was expecting anything short of what Donald Trump said today, but a part of me was hoping that, with the election coming up, he would try to use more appropriate terms to refer to him, that maybe he would be a little more careful about whether he defends him or not. But, alas, he didn't. Donald Trump today, and I'm reading from my phone here so I get everything right, the president blamed civil unrest on left-wing political violence, which, no. Us leftists, we're not being violent. We're out there trying to demand change. But that's, again, not the topic of today's conversation. What he said was he was trying to get away from them, I guess, and he fell. Trump claims citing videos of the Rittenhouse attack. And then they very violently attacked him. The president also claimed the teenager probably would have been killed. He was in trouble. He probably would have been killed, but it's under investigation. Trump pretty much set up the stance that this was self-defense. He's right there saying Kyle Rittenhouse was doing this in self-defense. He was trying to defend himself. He was trying to keep himself safe. This is really disturbing. And it's really disturbing because when you look at this president and you look at what he will say, there is a very distinct difference between what he'll say towards a white person committing violence and crime and, say, a person of color or minority doing it. Now, if this was a black man, if this was a Muslim man, if this was anybody that wasn't a white man, Donald Trump would have called it domestic terrorism the day it occurred. Donald Trump would have fucking sat there and said that this was domestic terrorism. Donald Trump would have called for a crackdown on people like them. But it's a white person. It's a white person with a gun. It's a white person defending themselves. It's a white person going up against the anarchist thugs, the Antifa thugs, the leftist thugs that he's ranted about. And of course, this gets Trump all warm and feeling comfortable inside because it's what he's ranted about on Twitter for the last fucking 5 months. He spent 5 months building up the energy and building up the anger and building up the intensity for something like this to occur. He spent 5 months making people see the left as this criminal organization, making people see anti-fascists as something to die in the streets, making people see anarchists as someone that their life is innately not necessary, it's not human, and they are not American. Donald Trump built this. Donald Trump prepped this. This is all part of his game. His press secretary just the other day said the more violence that there is, the better the odds for Trump. How ironic that was said just days before this occurs. How ironic that just before a 17-year-old with an AR-15 travels across state lines driven by his mother to go defend property, how ironic that she says something like that. Then how ironic that it turns out that he was a back the blue guy. How ironic that he was cited at a Trump rally. Things start to piece together. You're really starting to see what his people are starting to think like. You're really starting to see what his people feel. See, his people, they view people like myself, and most likely you guys watching this. They view us as less than human. I've seen so many posts from his people saying that we should be hung up on a wall, that comparing us to pelts, dehumanizing us. And I just have to reflect back. If this is a black man that had shot 3 people, killing 2 white people, Donald Trump would have been making massive campaign speeches about how they are violent thugs. If this was a Muslim man that did the same thing, he would have called him a terrorist. Fuck the domestic terrorist thing. He would have literally called him a terrorist. I wouldn't be shocked if Donald Trump would have tried to say that he was related to ISIS. See, this is the presidency. The presidency of the United States under Donald Trump right now is pandering to the alt-right, pandering to the white nationalists, falling in line with what they said. The reason Donald Trump didn't speak the day that this happened, or even the day after, is because he sat back and he watched. He listened to what the social media feeds of the alt-right and the white nationalists, the Proud Boys, and all of them were saying. He was damn fast to speak when a Proud Boy got shot in the streets in Portland the other day, just yesterday. He was damn fast to talk about that. How funny he ignored that Proud Boy that was shot was a member of the BLM movement attempted to tend to them. How ironic that he's ignoring the fact that he was shot potentially by someone on his own side. But he spoke about it almost immediately. But that didn't occur when 2 people from the BLM movement were shot dead in the streets. He watched. He wanted to analyze what was going on. Listen, Donald Trump, he's not the smartest person in the world, but he's not dumb either. The guy knows how to follow the trends within the alt-right movement. It's why he built his campaign the way he did. It's the reason he defends the things that he does. It's the reason that after Charlottesville, he said there were fine people on both sides. He's got to keep playing the game. It's the presidency of the United States, the presidency that is turning into a fascist regime, the presidency that is turning into a dictatorship, authoritarian measures that I couldn't imagine seeing happen in this country. And here we are, standing right now. We are days after this, and he is saying that Kyle Rittenhouse more than likely acted in self-defense. Right now, Donald Trump's flipping through the book trying to figure out how he can freaking pardon him. I guarantee you. If there's a way he could pardon him, Donald Trump will find a way to do it. This is the type of thing that gets his base ignited. This is the type of thing that gets them ready to go out there and vote for him. Because at this point, he recognizes that most of the base that he thought he was going to have doesn't exist. The base that he needs are those that are ready to pander to a fascist. The base he needs are the ones that don't mind if there's an authoritarian regime as long as the person who's doing it, their last name's Trump. See, he's pandering to the only people that are going to support his rhetoric. He's pandering to the only people that are prepared to take up arms if he loses the November election. He's pandering to the very people who will literally go out there and crucify us in the fucking streets if they have to. The alt-right, the white nationalists. That's who supports him. And quite frankly, right now they are celebrating Kyle Rittenhouse as a hero. So, of course, he's going to go out there and say that it was self-defense. Of course, he's going to stand up and say that he was probably going to be killed by that angry leftist mob, because that's what gets them fired up and that's what makes them salivate. See, I've been trying to find a way to put this in a less blunt way, but I have no other way. For these people, for the alt-right, for the white nationalists, for the people like them, for the 3%ers, they want nothing less than our blood in the streets, because they don't view us as Americans. We're enemies of the state, because we seek to change the system and we seek to repair the system and seek to stomp out the nationalism, to seek out and stomp out the fascism. We are the enemy, because we're willing to take a stand against Donald Trump. We're the enemy. We're an enemy of the United States. We're an enemy of patriots. We're an enemy of Donald Trump, and we're an enemy of them. As far as they're concerned, the only good anti-fascist is a dead anti-fascist. That's their stance. So our blood in the streets is just another casualty of war in their world. So this is why we have to stand up and fight. Because at this point, it's about saving our lives. It's about defending ourselves. This goes far beyond trying to save the democracy that is the United States of America. This goes far beyond attempting to keep this country moving forward. We're making impactful change. Just last night, the People's Party decided they are forming. We have a chance in 2021 to start towards a path towards change, but we need to keep this fucking system afloat somehow in order for that to even be able to occur. And to do that, we have to stay alive. This is a fight for our lives. It's scary. I didn't want to have to say it, but it really is. So, be safe. If you're out protests right now, be safe. If you're watching this at a protest, keep yourself safe. Keep your eyes peeled. Watch all around you, because they are going to try guerrilla tactics. I guarantee it. They'll dress like us. They'll look like us. They'll stand in the crowd like us. I put a post up on my Facebook where they were talking about how easy it is to plunge a hypodermic needle into someone with, rat poison. They're thinking about it. They're planning. We need to stay alive. This Saturday, there's going to be a nationwide protest. Refuse fascism. Trump Pence out now. There's going to be a huge protest nationwide. I hope we all stay safe. Keep an eye out. If you're there with your friends, keep your friends close by. Keep an eye out on them, because the only way we stay safe is when we stay together. Stay beautiful, humans.